68 Shelby GT 500. This is a convertible. Went over and documented it for him. That's what I do. I could tell it was an original car. There's your car. There they are. Hey, hey.
Hey.
Mike and Michael,
Nice
how are you?
Hey.
Nice to see you. It's really great having Mike and his son Michael come out today. They flew all the way across the country to meet us, talk about their car, share the story behind the Superbird, or Superbirds in this case. I know that we're going to be committed to making it look as perfect as one can look. I know for a fact that when it gets returned back to him, they're going to be a very happy household. So there's your baby.
Nice.
I haven't even unpacked it. I put it on the hoist and raised it up out of everybody's way. I put the spoiler on it because that was obviously wedged inside at the time.
Right.
I think Mike's story is an amazing story.
These cars, to me, were my ultimate muscle car.
Mike had wanted a Superbird from the time he was a little kid. There was an urban legend in town that a guy had one.
Whenever I would pass by this gentleman's house, from the road, you could just see the tips of the wings as you were coming by. It was one of those things that where I said, if I ever get a chance, I was going to go over there and see if I could buy these cars.
However, the urban legend also said that the guy that owned the car was a lunatic who would stick his dog on you and kill you if you went up and so much as knocked on the door and asked about him. So Mike never did.
We decided to build a Daytona clone.
They got quite a ways on the Daytona. They got the rear body panel replaced on it from the 68 to the 69. They changed the side markers out.
So we get our parts together on the tail end of the car. Well, when it comes to the front end of the car, I have no idea how to hang this fiberglass nose on it. So I discussed it with a guy that I met at the post office. He's an old gearhead buddy of mine. He said, you know what? He said, why don't you go around to the guy's house and show him that you're actually working on a wing car by taking your parts, and you might have a chance of getting a look at his car.
And he did just that. He collected the few parts that he had questions about, got his son in the car, and they went over to the guy's house.
Sure enough, he met me at the door. He comes out of the door and says, can I help you? I go around to the back of my truck, and I quickly grab the fiberglass nose cone, hold it up to show him, hey, I've got parts here. And he says, what can I help you with? After Mike explained to him it was a father-son project that they were working on together, I think that softened the blow to the old man, and he says, yeah, if you want to take some pictures, go take some pictures. We get out of the truck, we start heading back to the woods, and as I look back in the woods, I see two Superbird wings, just as plain as day. Here you got the year 2007, and these cars are still in this guy's backyard, undiscovered, unrestored, just sitting there. He spent some time with his camera taking all the necessary photos of the bottom side of the Superbird, figuring out how the pieces go together. While he was doing that, his son, Michael, was over visiting with the old man. And he asked my son, he says, well, what else do you guys do? Well, I help my dad work on cars. We motocross ride together. And I mentioned, I said, you know, I teach my son the old school stuff. Little did I know that kind of struck a good feeling with the old guy. I guess the guy that owned the cars really took a liking to Michael and to his dad and the idea that they were working on a project together. And I think they began to form a friendship out of that. You know, when we went to the truck, I thanked him for his time. I reached across the dash, and I got one of my business cards, and I also got a $10 bill that I had there in the ashtray, and I handed him both of them. And I said, hey, I want you to keep this. And he said, well, what's this for? I'm giving you that $10 so you don't throw away my business card, because I know these are your children, and I know that they're yours, and you want to keep them. But if for any reason you ever decide you want to sell them, I know that you know what you have here, and I know what you have here. Those cars are very rare, and they're worth a lot of money. I'll be willing to give you your price for them. And that's all I said. We didn't talk price. It was just, I'll give you your price for them. So after a few months, out of the blue, Mike gets a phone call from the guy that owns the cars saying, are you still interested in these things? Again, he met us at the front door, was happy to see us. He said, I've considered selling you these cars under two reasons. Number one, you don't take these cars and resell them. He says, because my second condition is, you guys being a father-son team, he says, I want to see you end up with one bird, and I want to see him end up with one bird. Mike made the promise and kept the promise and ended up getting the cars from him. To this day, he and I have come to be really good friends. He and Michael and I go riding motorcycles together, and we've developed a really good relationship. So it was a really good feeling to come away from all of that, not only with two Superbirds, but to know we've made a new friend here, and that he's going to see his kids come back to life. You know, stories like Mike's, these are the fabrics that make up our life. At least my life and the generation of the people that I hang out with and that I grew up with. I love that Graveyard Cars can go now and tell these stories and bring to life other people's history and other people's memories. I'm honored to be a part of this project.
I was talking to Mike. I'm going to get back at the gym. He gave me a few pointers on it. He's obviously done it for many, many years and is good at it. I suspect in about 6 months you'll probably see a new Mark WORMAN. So you probably notice when you look at Mike, he's a professional bodybuilder, that there's a lot of similarities. We were just talking a little bit earlier about some different tricks at the gym, how he used to bench over 400. I'm thinking I'll probably head that direction.
I think you're pretty close. Mark's on this weightlifting thing now. I don't know how far that's going to go. It's probably going to go as far as it did before. We had a guy named here, Mark Kane, who was a fighter. Mark was all going to fight everybody then. So we'll see how this weightlifting stuff goes, bodybuilding stuff.
At my age, in my 40s now, I doubt very much that I'm going to be
40 said bye-bye.
Be bench pressing 400 pounds at my age. So my guess is if I could pump, like Mike, you were saying you'd do, like if you went to the gym, you'd go for reps versus
nowadays, and like you're right about the 40-something.
Yeah.
That's when the joints start hurting, your knees, your elbows.
Yeah.
Back in the day when I was youthful and full of vigor, 400 pounds, I could do 400 pounds. Yeah. Nowadays, if I walk in the gym and put 225 on the bench press and do 8 strict reps, 4 sets of that, that's plenty.
Oh, that's
for
way
you and I.
plenty. Oh my gosh, yeah.
That will develop, it'll still build muscle just like you need.
Yeah, absolutely. Always probably my least favorite part of it is you kind of forge these little friendships and you don't want to say goodbye, you want to say, hey, let's go hang out, but they got to go home. So we shook hands and sent him off to hit the plane for the big East Coast. Next time I see you, my friend, we will have a white Superbird ready to drive back to South Carolina.
Nice.
I will be cut and chiseled like you.
I am
close
counting
to
on
it.
it.
I will.
I'm counting on it.
You're going to hold me to it, right?
You betcha.
Well, I am looking forward to it. All right, guys.
Thank you.
See you later.
All right.
Bye.